My name is Evelina Grant, and I've written a spoken word, When You Make America Great Again, this time, can you please include my brown skin? And the cover is by Tish Spalding of the Spalding Agency, and I think she did a wonderful job. But truly, America is a great nation. But I'm saddened by this climate of the present government that we're in. I hope and pray that though the president, government, and politics try to create laws that benefit some and not others, I pray in our hearts and personal decisions we will treat others like we want to be treated. And on the back of the book, I have a short paragraph that says, as I think about the greatness of America, I look back through her history, searching for a time when all races and people of this country were included in its show of greatness. Sometimes I find it difficult to see when that greatness included all. I enter this narrative inquiry with uneasy trepidation, with discretions on confessions of one brown skin interpretation. For the words following we the people often didn't include me. Words of tranquility, established justice, general welfare, and blessings of liberty. Help me to see when America was great for all its citizens, when laws were fair for all, and their rights they could defend. Our history story is one of distorted facts, half-truths, and statements that are skewed, exaggerations, partial accounts, fake news to name a few. As people of color, your history has been chosen for you. If you were mentioned at all, it was from a negative point of view. Was 1492 the beginning of our nation? American Indians had been here for centuries, if you do some timeline computations. Can other people of England, France, or Spain truly as first stake their claim? Erickson, Columbus, Norseman, and Viking, the tales of America are very striking. If something is already in someone's possession, how can you take it from them with such force and aggression? But how can you discover a land with inhabitants? American Indians were the discoverers, and we are all immigrants. Vikings were fierce warriors who came to Vinland, but they were no match against the American Indians. Europeans may have done exploitation and colonization, establishing government, controlling the economy on the American Indians with forced propagation. No sharing, no compromise, no adequate indemnification. American Indians would soon lose many generations. It is said disease Europeans brought played a significant part, but many other incidents were done with malice of heart. The Indians experienced the first American actions of genocide, the birth of a nation with economic, social, and racial divide. Now, was this the time in our history when America was great? American Indians' rights just didn't equate? The promise of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is in the Declaration, but it was said I was 3/5 of a human, and this was the justification. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, but brown people were not included. We were not shown freedom's light. There was much work to be done in this growing great nation. Africans were brought to America in large populations. History states slavery existed between 1619 and 1865 for the brown race, but I must contend that it never truly ended, but took on a new face. For we the people, this justice was not blind. With deception and calculation, we were denied time after time. Let's look at the Constitution written by founding fathers. Human rights for the brown people, they couldn't be bothered. For some, the first 10 amendments or Bill of Rights secured blessings that were not written or were in oversight, but many brown people struggle and just can't seem to pay the bills for their rights. Our Constitution, with its interpretations and amendments made by their choosing, at times an institution so fluid is given power of abusing. Amendment 4 says, no searching me or my home without probable cause, but by being brown seems I've broken a law, or sometimes it's just because. Amendment 6 gives me the right to a speedy trial by an impartial jury. Often, when this is granted, it is lusus naturae. So many ways to keep brown people from due process. The thought is keeping them locked up seems what's best. Amendment 8 states no excessive bail shall be required, no cruel or unusual punishment if economic status you have acquired. Today, many brown people are convicted as felons. They are labeled and branded so the system can keep their eye on them. Amendment 9 states there are rights of the people that are not specifically listed, though not mentioned. Granting their human rights is lawfully resisted. Amendment 13 states neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime, shall exist unless the courts convict you. Then Congress shall have the power to enforce this legislation. You're branded a criminal, and legal slavery is its interpretation. Amendment 14 states, no law shall be made to shorten the privilege of its citizens, that is, except for those whom they have imprisoned. It also provides due process and equal protection under the law for all. For people of color, this depends on the sitting president and Congress who's making the call. After the courts declare you a felon and decides your time, it takes away your right to vote as one punishment for crime. As a felon, you also lose the right to travel abroad. Jury duty is taken away, and getting a job is hard. Felons can't live in public housing or even get any intervention. You can't even own a gun for your own protection. It will be hard to get a lease or apply for a student loan. In this legal way, most of your human rights are gone. You will not be able to get life insurance. They're chiseling away at your deepest endurance. Social Security and federal grants are no longer a given. In fact, the system is making it hard for you to make a living. Is it just me, or does all this smell? Brown people are 6% of the American population, but 40% of those in jail. Does the brown skin's incarceration make America great, keeping them down as a way to subordinate? The Emancipation Proclamation partially started the attempt to free the enslaved. Abraham Lincoln attempted the process that took him to his grave. All persons held as slaves shall be thenceforth and forever free. The executive government of the United States will recognize and maintain the freedom of such person, and will do no act or acts to repress such persons. This attempt wasn't wanted for people the color of bronze. Slaves being freed caused economic problems. The system scrambled to stop this because there goes their income. Now, was this the time when America was great? When hope of freedom for the brown skin, the system would frustrate? Sure, laws were there, but they were only de jure. But de facto was the reality and kept with fury. After the Civil War, brown people were arrested in mass numbers for standing or vagrancy, all to encumber. Segregation and Jim Crow laws slotted them permanent second-class status. This great nation had created another enslavement apparatus. Was this the time when this nation was great, spreading hatred on brown people like frosting on a cake, when requests for equality were always met with weight, but never was the intent, and we were warned to take the bait? MLK Jr. asked, how long? Not long, for no lie can live forever. How long? Not long, because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice wherever. People trying to live and be understood as human beings, with this justice actions be so far-seeing? Fire hosed and gassed for wanting equal rights. It happened in the 60s and again the other night. Our 36th president said, at times, history and fate meet at a single time in a single place to shape a turning point in man's unending search for freedom. America, this search will continue and spread like sedum. Our 37 presidents' war on crime and drugs sent many brown people to be incarcerated, though there wasn't a significant problem with either, but the fears of others he inflated. The plan was to arrest black leaders and disrupt their communities. For all people of color, there were no immunities. Our 40th president started his war on drugs, and his wife said, just say no, when unemployment and imprisonment and police budgets were high, but opportunities for brown people were cut so very low. Millions of dollars were allocated to jails. This led to the disappearance of many of our brown males. The same sentence for 1 ounce of crack and 100 ounces of cocaine. This is wrong, and the 40th president was to blame. Please tell me this is not when you say America was great, during a season of cruelty, hatred, and prejudice brown families to humiliate. Our 41st president's campaign was centered around being tough on crime. This meant people of color would be locked up time after time. Our 42nd president enacted 3 strikes you're out, along with mandatory minimum. He made so many brown men become lifetime prison criminals. He created a multi-billion-dollar crime bill to militarize the police. During his administration, men of color in prison rose to a couple of million at least. Oh Lord, I'm scared you might be thinking this is when America was great, when brown families went across your TV screen handcuffed to humiliate. The American prison system has been privatized. Therefore, keeping men of color in prison has been authorized. All their investors must make profits on their investment. So off to prison the brown skin is sent. There are vendors galore that want a piece of the pie. Those offering goods and services offer one big lie. If you agree to a lower sentence, then you go into the system. No bail that you can afford, no day in court, for now you are condemned. Many court-appointed lawyers give little support, and you will find that money, not justice, shapes your day in court. This system, hungry system, eating African and Hispanic men morning, noon, and night. No resources to help them. So return to prison is their plight. Now this is the America we are living in. And when you begin the process of making it great again, this time, can you please include my brown skin? Thank you.